afternoon, Alcorn State campus. Welcome to the first edition of Inside the Huddle. I am your host, Franklin Rogers. Today I'm accompanied by
Kenny Dozier.
So today we got a little questionnaire. What I want to do this year Inside the Huddle, I want to bring on different student athletes, boys and girls. I'm going to try to get one from every sport and just try to get some, day in the life questions, personal questions. I think it's important to get to know the student athletes beyond the field and beyond the court. So you're my first victim of the semester. We're gonna dive right into it. But tell me about your journey into playing football. What first inspired you to start playing?
I grew up watching football. I grew up a Ravens fan. Growing up every Sunday, watching the NFL, getting up every morning to watch college football, playing Little League football. It just kind of just shaped my love for football, and that's, it's just a sport it's given me so many opportunities, it's made me so many connections, and it's just forever just something that's always going to be in my blood, and it's just something that I grew up with.
What about, I have to ask, what about long snapping, because, being a long snapper, shortstop or long snapper, what about that specifically got you into it? I don't think, if I had Jalen on here or Jarvis, one of the receivers or quarterbacks, that's a pretty commonly, played profession, but as a specialist, as someone who, says, oh, I'm a long snapper, like, what do you have to say to people who either ask, like, what is that, or how does someone get into long snapping?
Well, number one, to get into long snapping, it's really just something that I found that was like, okay, I can be really good at this.
Yeah.
So I talked to my parents, and I'm like, hey, listen, let's go to these camps, and I went with my trainers. I found really good trainers. I went to these short ranking camps and did really well, and I got recruited out of high school. I was at Norfolk State my freshman year, and then I went to Florida Atlantic. Now I'm here, and it's given me opportunities that I don't think any other position really could have. And then to answer your second question, when I tell people, I just tell them that I'm the one that snaps the balls to the holder and the punter. I basically
stay upside down.
Yeah, I'm an upside down quarterback.
So no, literally. So coming from two different schools, this being your third school, what is some of the most memorable moments of your athletic career so far? You could pick one from each school or just one in general.
I think the most memorable moment was my first ever college football practice. I think that's it for everyone.
That's a wake-up call, bro.
It's not high school, So it's just something that I really had to really get acclimated to, because college practices are nothing like high school practices. So my first practice at Norfolk State, that was truly something that was like, all right, I'm in this. A little
bit of a shock.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it.
Right. So how does coming from your first semester as a freshman at Norfolk State, having that experience of, the play of the game is faster, everything's different, you're no longer the best guy in the locker room, you're in a locker room with a bunch of guys who are also the best in their locker rooms. How do you mentally prepare yourself, say the day-to-day practice and then going into Saturday, big games and competitions?
I think the mentality is you just have to do more. You have to be able to want it. You have to.
Bro.
I feel like a lot of guys, they get into college and their mentality is that, okay, well, I'm already good. I don't have to work as hard. But the things when you get to college, everyone's just as good as you. So you have to have the mentality. So you have to have that chip on your shoulder that you're not as good as you think you are, and you can always improve. And that's kind of been my mentality going from, as a freshman just to now. You have to just want to get better. And that just kind of just goes for everything in life that I do. You have to want it, So
say in high school, man, it's a job. I mean, at this point, it's a job.
It really is a job.
You could just be naturally good in high school, but in college, you're not the only one on the depth chart. We got other long snappers. We got other guys that want to play. Guys that want to feed their families. So, I guess younger advice is just to really want it. It becomes more of a job than just having love for the game is only going to get you so far. You got to want it at that point.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, they think they love the game, but college is really going to test you. If you really, truly love the sport.
So, speaking of tests and being pushed to the boundaries a little bit, what's some challenges that you felt like you've overcome in your athletic career to get to this point?
I feel like, so I was coming into college, I was 17. I skipped a grade when I was younger, so I was younger than everyone else in the room, and I felt like I've always had to play catch up in terms of just physicality, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always been, not I won't say insecure, it's just something that I've always had to be aware of, that like I'm younger than these guys that I'm competing with, yeah, and I still want to show out on film. I still want to be that guy that the coach can trust, and I think that's one of my biggest challenges so far. And I think the next biggest challenge was, especially going into college, was trying to balance school and football. That's something that I think a lot of people don't underestimate how hard that really is.
Having two full-time
Yeah.
jobs,
No,
full-time
really.
athlete and full-time student.
And you know, when I first majored in college, I was a health science major.
So you were studying.
Yeah,
Okay. Who, throughout these, long study hours, long practice times, who's kind of been your biggest influence or your best mentor kind of navigating you through this career?
My dad has truly been, even since high school, when we're going to camps, if I'm not performing well, I'm performing well. He's always been the person to tell me that you need to lock in, or you need to do this, or you're doing great. He'll always be the one to tell me what I need to be doing in terms of just like, where I need to be at mentally, where I should be at physically, and honestly, I think if I didn't have my dad in my corner, I don't know where I'd be athletically. He's just been like, essentially, he's been like my manager in a sense throughout my entire.
Shout out to
career.
the sports dads.
So yeah,
most like pee-wee teams or like little tykes. Most of the 99% of the coaches are players' dads.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my dad has coached almost every team I've been on.
My dad's went out and hand tossed me millions of footballs, man. I get it.
I think there needs
to be. Same way.
Shout out to all the dads out there, to all the sports dads out
there. The coaching dads, the sports dads, the ones that
my dad works
footing the bill for all this too. Like these kicking cams are not cheap.
They're
bro.
not spending so much money on flights and hotels to get an opportunity. I'm forever grateful for that, and I think that what people don't also understand is that as a specialist too, like, especially if your dad needs their hands for work, like I've had to snap my dad, I want to say over 1 million balls, and he's he's a surgeon, so it's red, and he's like, I can't do this. Let's build you a target.
Man, my hands are red after one day of practice.
No, for real.
What do you think that as being a student athlete, we are blessed to say that we're just more than just regular students, and we do have a lot of perks and the travel and the gear and things like that. How do you feel like you've balanced your social life, though? I mean, obviously, the importance of being in school, importance of being an athlete, but how do you balance your athletic commitments with your personal lives and other interests? Because, this is bigger than football. We do understand that as two guys at upper class, and we understand that our athletic careers are kind of dwindling down here, and it's time to maybe start thinking about, hey, like, what do I like to do? What am I using football to get to past post-grad?
Post-grad, I feel like football has been a slingshot for me to get to where I need to be professionally. Like, if that's not professional football, it's definitely been in tech. Like, I'm super into tech. I feel like football has allowed me to kind of explore my interests with being at certain universities who specialize in different things, and I think that in terms of balancing social life, I just feel like I have always been really good friends with a specialist, no matter what school I've been at. I've always been able to maintain that connection. And outside of football, really not really many people, unless because I've always taken, after freshman year, I've learned to take online classes. So I was like, this is going to be hard to really balance.
FAU online classes, man. I love that. People don't get that about specialists, though. Like, pregame, I mean, we can say here, for pregame for Prairie View last 4 days ago on Saturday, you got all the other positions in pregame. They're all got their headphones on and their masks on and their hoods up and no one's talking to each other and the refs are standing at midfield trying to mitigate anything that's happening. But both team specialists are we're chopping it up 30 minutes before the game,
the cameras never really pan over to seeing the specialists, just talking to each other.
I had a good conversation with Prairie View's all of their kicker and their punter. We probably talked for 20 minutes before the game.
It's funny. I walked out and I saw you. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, and I think that's such a misconception. Kind of going to my next question of what's a common misconception do you think the outside world has on specialists? We don't do anything. We're this, we're that. They see us goofing off at practice every day. I know you do. I know that you can attest to it. What do you think some of the misconceptions are of, not being a football player? Because at the end of the day, we are football players, but we kind of live in this bubble inside of the football program that people don't really understand what we do.
I feel like a common misconception. I could go on for hours about this. You have no idea, but a common misconception I think is I'm going to go off what you said. that they think we don't do anything all practice.
Yeah.
We kick, we snap for 1 period, maybe 2 periods, and we go off and do nothing. But it's like specialists, like being a specialist is a lot like being a golfer, right? You have a pitch count, you have a swing count.
Yep.
You can only do so much that your body will allow you to the best of your ability before it becomes
At that point, you're just doing it just to do it.
You're doing it just to appease your coaches, but you're only gonna get worse. Like,
Yeah.
You know how I think maybe
Translated to baseball.
Yeah, like in
Pitch.
baseball, you have a pitch count, right?
Okay.
Pitchers don't play every game. They have to save their arms. It's the same thing with specialists, with kickers. You have to save their hips.
Yeah.
If they kick every day, and yes, I'm talking to you, Coach Fosselman. If they kick every day, like
coaches, please, we're telling you, our legs are so tired. Like we kick every day.
and
Like
it's just like,
oh my gosh,
their hips are going to fall off the bone. That's how you create a culture of injuries
Yeah.
and all of that. Like during fall
and you form
camp,
bad habits too.
Yeah, during fall camp, I think I was at a snap count of over like 400
It's
in
crazy
like
work,
3
man.
days, and my wrists were beyond done.
Yeah.
Like my wrists and forearms were beyond done.
You don't get that. There was a thing called, I went to the doctor and he said it's something in athletes called repetitive stress motion.
Yeah.
Right. It's in tennis players, swimmers, baseball players, like where you have the same motion over and over again, whether you're doing freestyle or butterfly. It's you're practicing it's the same motion. Like if we're sore and we're tired, we could go out there and run routes. We could go out there and do everything else, but to swing your leg to where your knee's touching your head is like, you got to be, you know what I mean? Like it takes a lot to do that.
And they don't realize it's the same motion.
The same motion.
It's the same motion with the same power every single time.
It's not like the quarterback's throwing every pass. Sometimes you hand it off. Sometimes you know what I'm saying? So, misconception, we can't win a game for y'all, but we could definitely lose a game.
100%.
Unless it came down to a game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna leave you with one more question till we end this up. How do you stay motivated, man? Especially here. I mean, there's no secret, no lie that hey, like we got it hard in the SWAC. We got it hard in HBC football. Everything what we do, man, we got to get it out the mud, literally. Like, how do you stay motivated, bro?
I think what keeps me motivated is the fact that I came here to play, right? I came here to play. That was a deal. Offered me full ride scholarship to play. You know what I mean? And what keeps me motivated is that I can be able to say that I played my senior year. I'll have a chance to play professionally. And then on top of that, too, what's really, really motivating me is my degree. You know?
Yeah.
I'm doing this not just for me. I'm doing this to make my parents proud back home and everyone else that loves me. And it truly is just something that, like, being here to stay motivated, you got to enjoy the perks of being a Division I athlete. Getting to travel every weekend to these big schools, getting to play on ESPN every weekend. Like, that's fun, being in the hotels, you know, spending that time with your teammates. It really is something that you have to look forward to the little things. You know what I mean? You have to take pride in the little things, and you can't lose sight of what's important. Because the minute you do, you're going to build those habits for the rest of your life. And I think that's just not something that I ever really want to do.
I want to do.
I care about. So,
Kenny, man, appreciate you.
of course, brother.
Alcorn State, first in many episodes of Inside the Huddle. Appreciate y'all tuning in.